And good morning and welcome to Touch Base Daily. Look who's by my side on a Wednesday.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to season 4.
Oh, it's season 4.
Day 2.
And I have the great Chris here. I see Gwendolyn is she's in the comment box. She says, "Good day all, gonna lay low today." I hear you, dear. I hear you.
No. Are you not coming on today, Gwendolyn?
No, she's not gonna be with us today.
Okay. It's all right.
That's okay. We got Mr. B. Mr. B's in the building. He says, first of all, Mr. B is number
Gold
1
star.
in the building. He gets the gold one today. And he says, Brian Young says, "Happy Temptation Day. Papa was a rolling stone. Well, wherever he laid his hat was his home." That was the song, baby. That harmony on Brian sent me a clip today, and I was like,
"Yeah, I saw it."
And I was all in it. Good morning, Chris R. She's in the building. Lisa's in the building. Just feel better, G. Feel better. G says she is remembering. Oh, what's happened to my little trigger here? What's happening? It's stuck. That's odd.
Do you want to hit it?
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there you go.
It says remembering Pops today, September 3rd. Wow, that's right.
Wow.
September
3
3rd.
years.
Wow. And our continued remembrance of him and and Gwendolyn and her family. And Lisa says, "Hey everyone." Yes. But when Brian sent me that I was like, "Oh, this is so special. Papa was a rolling stone." I can't tell you how that song means so much to me.
I think we can tell.
My sister and I shouldn't probably say this on the air. But my father,
y'all used to dance to it.
You know, my father was not there when I was growing up. So my father, I mean, he's a good guy now. We've moved past all of that. But when we were younger, that was our theme song for our father. That song.
Okay.
And one day he got so upset with my sister because she was like, the song came on the radio. This is like she was probably she was getting ready to get married. It's just like on the week of her wedding to be, and the song came. He's in the car with her, and the song pops on the radio. Papa was a rolling stone, and she said, "Oh, they're playing your song."
Wow.
And he got so upset. He was so upset. He got literally angry. And we were, because every time we used to hear that song, we would sing it as you know, because my father was not there. And then he had lots of, he has his flings and stuff like that. So we always felt like when he wasn't there, he was somewhere else. And we always knew he was the Rolling Stone. And I'm so glad that he's no longer a Rolling Stone, but he was a Rolling Stone back then. He was never around. And but that was our theme song. And so when Brian sent me that song this morning, it made me laugh because that was the song. It took me right back to my childhood. And then that video is so good because the video where the mother is talking to the son reminded me of my mom talking to me. And it was, let me tell you, Brian, you made my morning. you made my morning in a funny kind of way. I can laugh about it now, and I'm sure my father, he can laugh about it at some point, I guess. But I mean, he has lots of regrets as an older man. And but that was our song. That was, I think, in some ways, that was how my sister and I were able to manage him not being there by singing
music
that song.
That.
We made that music somehow a punt, but at the same time, it brought consolement to us as we were growing up. And so, but my sister, it was so funny because again, we sang that song so often, and every time we heard it on the radio, we just got up and danced and said, "Papa was a Rolling Stone." And we would be upset with us too, because she was like, "Don't do that, y'all, don't do that." But I knew my mother, she was like probably in her head saying, "Go get it, girl, go get it, guys." But I often credit my mother for this. When I was growing up, as neglected as I was by my father, my mother never, ever said a bad thing about him. To this day, my mother has ever said a negative word about my father, even though broke her heart, even though he cheated, even though he did all the stuff he did. My mother, to this day, never has ever said a negative word about my father.
Can I say something in regards to that? That's the true sign of a really good mother. And I'm going to tell you something, because I had a similar experience with my mother. My mother and father divorced when I was 3. And, my father's not the easiest person to get. As a matter of fact, I don't have a relationship with him. Let's put that out there. But growing up, even as a young adult, my mother never, ever said anything bad about him to us in front of us. You know what I mean? She doesn't get along with him, but you would never know. And, she would always, to the point where she'd be like, well, have you spoken to your father recently? You should give him a call. Like that type of thing.
Yes.
So
my mother did the
shout
same
out
thing.
to all those mothers out there that are in the roles of being a mother and father, and then also still trying to have your kids have some type of communication with their fathers, even when they don't take an active interest in their child's life.
Yeah, and the respect. Like I said,
absolutely.
And people don't, we have a family situation, one family member where the mother really like bashed another family member of, there's, and he's a good father, does everything for his daughter, spends time, sends her money, put her through school, paid all the money, how you what do you call it, child support, make sure child support and child support and above. And this mother was so bad, and to this day now it affects he and his daughter's relationship. And people don't realize the sign, like you just said, a sign of a good mom, good parenting. And I watched this in a lot of women that I met growing up over the years, and they never bashed that guy. That they knew he was bad. And when we were older, I used to sit down and talk to my mother about it. I said, "Mom, you never said anything bad about him. Not once." I couldn't pull it out of her. Even if I said something bad, she would like, she would just give a hum and just walk away, or but she never, ever. And I think that gave her a higher standing in how I saw her as a mom.
Yeah.
Because there were certain levels of respect, even to the people that do you wrong. And that example is how I live today. You don't have to bash people. You don't have to. Their lives are evidence of who they are. And that was she used to say to me. She says, "I knew you would grow up and understand what was going on. It was not my job to tell you all the bad things. You were going to find out somehow, some way, through people. See, I didn't even have to tell you. People in the family will tell you." So but she took the high road. I had to tell you, she took the high road. That's one thing I will say about my mom, that she took the high road every single time. And to this day, I'm 61 years old, and my mother has never, ever said a negative word about my father. Not once. Yeah. So anyway, Bryson's in the building. He says, "What's up, Ron? What's up, Chris? What's up, everybody? Happy third month of September. I am
third day of the
home
month.
from third day of the month, and he's home from New York City. He didn't even visit. He didn't even call. That's okay, Bryson. That's okay.
Right. I take it Bryson is shy. Bryson's shy.
Bryson did not reach out. Ooh, okay, Bryson.
Hold on. I'm feel like there's people at the door.
There are people
at
the door. They're waiting for us. Oh, let's bring them in. Oh, yes, it's Elise
good morning
and Brian. What's up? Good morning, people.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Oh,
how are you all?
Nice. Oh, your volume is excellent over there, Miss
Yes.
I heard y'all talk about those fathers. But I have to say, my story was the opposite, as you all know.
I know yours was. Your story was amazing.
My father never said anything about my mother. And when she came down one year, it was like, I could tell you the exact year, 1969, she came down.
Wow.
Because my sister had her first son, and she got sick and had to be hospitalized and have surgery in Montgomery. My father was there every day. Every day he was there while she was in the hospital, everything. My mother, on the other hand, as I found out later, she was a little bit of a Rolling Stone now. Her bookend babies are different. Well, my father had quite a few children, which was interesting, but never knew. I've told this story. I never knew it. We never met. The six of us who lived with him never met any women that he had relationships with during the 7-year period of time when he had all of us to himself. Never knew of any of the children. Outside of any relationship. No one ever came to the house. No one ever called the house until as long as he had his memory, if I called and said, "Who's your baby?" I was always the baby, even though he would say me, even though I know there was some that was allegedly younger than me. And I did finally ask him about it. I said, well, at his mother's, after his mother's funeral, one of my uncles said, "Hey, those girls over there say they're your sisters." I say, "Hey, they might be, but I think there are issues with their father because I don't know them." And so later on that night, I asked him about it. He said, this is what he said, "Some are and some want to be." That's how he answered that question. And I never said anything else about it anymore. But what I don't think happens often enough, because we hear the stories of the women who have to play the dual roles. We don't hear enough about the fathers.
The fathers.
And I've known several of them who've had to do that, where they had to step in and be both parents. My father did that and worked 2 jobs. We never missed anything. And so I think that, I often say that even on my pages, that fathers who are in that situation get acknowledged, particularly Black fathers.
Yes. They get a bad rap. And there's a lot of Black men that are totally involved in their children's lives, always supporting their kids, taking their kids out. When I go to the park, I see them with their kids. When I see, like, I came home from Jersey with my, hanging out with Adrian. I came home, it was at the bus stop, and this young guy was with his baby carriage rolling down J Street. And, we don't give our Black men enough credit for the times that they spend, because the world bashes them and says, "Oh, Black men don't stay with their kids," and so there's some truth to some of that, but it's not as vast as people want to make it sound like. Most men are involved with their children's lives.
And so, in all fairness, that's the truth for some women.
Yes.
No, and I think that we don't acknowledge that enough. And I acknowledge it because I know what my situation was.
Yes.
I know my mother left for 7 years. And then all of a sudden they want me to live with somebody I didn't really know. So I think that we have to give credit to the Black fathers. And when you look at the statistics, it shows that Black fathers are what some of the most involved fathers.
Yes.
In whatever way they can be. And I think, that's why I try to always encourage Black fathers on my page. I try to just do those things because Black fathers need that. People need to know they're doing their job. They need to know that Brian's doing his job for his sons, that Ron, you did what you need to do for Adrian. They needed to know that. And I know that if Chris had children, he'd be an amazing father too. But I know that. And I know some amazing fathers who get a bad rap that they don't deserve because they are doing those things, but they don't get to be acknowledged. And I think that the Black father, like I said, with my father, he was one of the most amazing men I've ever known in my life.
Mm.
The fact that he never missed out, never. He worked those 2 jobs, but he was going to bake that cake, pie, whatever you wanted, and he's going to dance with you. That's why Luther Vandross's song "Dance with My Father" again is so relevant for me because he did dance with us all the time, and so having that appreciation. And later on, my father never said anything bad about my mother, but later on in life, my mother tried to say things about my father, and I told her, "You're not allowed to." He never talked about you, and you're not allowed to talk about a man who took care of 6 children, 7 with her oldest child, and he taught him how to drive. He taught him how to do everything. She tried to tell him that my father was the reason that she abandoned him, and he said, "Well, I can't accept that because he's the one that called me his son. He's the one that taught me how to drive and taught me all my bad habits."
Well, it's also got Mr. B in the building. He is he's a dad, and he has his Xavier and all. And so, I mean, Brian, it was interesting that you sent that song to me. What I was like, what? This is the funniest. But it's September 3rd. That's why you sent it.
Yeah. Well, good morning to you guys.
I love that song.
It's my favorite song. It really is.
That bass line, that
harmony, that bass line. Boom, 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 boom,
but
and the history of the song. That man hated singing that song.
Yeah. So the history behind it and the song itself,
right.
It may be painful or discomforting to some, but for me, so I think I've shared I'm blessed to still have both of my parents. They divorced, maybe almost 40 years ago, but they've been, friends since. My point in bringing that up, like my dad's side, I think I've shared, my dad is biracial, and growing up, he and his siblings, it was that unfortunately that narrative that we've heard where he was too black, him and his siblings were too black to play with the white kids and too white to play with the black kids. So my grandparents,
that's the worst place to be.
Yeah, my grandparents at the time, I don't think they realized they were starting a family tradition with our family talent shows. My grandparents, his parents said, "Hey, well, you guys got to toughen up, figure out something to play together." And that evolved over time for our talent show. And then knowing, I think I've shared who, my late cousin was. But, so talent in the family runs through the bloodlines, through the genes. Fast forward to when we started having the family talent shows again in my youth. And, I'm talking like a stage with a microphone, and the elders were the judges. So me and my brother and sister, one of our things, and this is older, when the Temptations movie, made for TV movie, came on, what was that? I think the 90s or whatever. And me and my brother and sister just kind of mimicked that when they when they premiered or sang a song, not that one, on the Ed Sullivan Show. So me and my brother and sister get up there, boom, boom, doing the moves, and that just last year, I remember like, yeah, it's the 3rd of September. Like, think about the songs that are hits that have a day and time. Like, one of my favorites is from Jamiroquai, 7 Days in Sunny June. And that's a song with the month of June. Here's a song with 3rd of September. And we can dig deep into the lyrics.
Those lyrics are really good.
But
the harmony is even better.
But I think what you're bringing up, like, I've been adulting for the past, I've shared, I've had a pretty big project that's been ongoing, which I'm thankful for. And then now the school's back in session, so I haven't been as available to do like community, but I didn't know the impact that would have, just sending that out to you guys in this organic conversation, maybe a miniature conversation around Black fathers. And as I'm listening to Lee's and you guys, I'm thinking, well, I don't think of myself as a good father. Not that I don't think of myself as a bad father, but I feel like any single dad out there, or any father who's truly engaged like I am, I'm just doing my best on a day-to-day basis. And I think that's my focus, and not, I need an award. I mean, yesterday I had to adjust my schedule. Xavier, co-parenting is a whole nother ball of wax. But I forgot that he had a dentist appointment in the morning. He's got school, and I had to readjust, a presentation. Things like this when I've been traveling for work now. Still FaceTiming. Hey, what's going on? And we had a parent meeting on Friday night that lasted like 3.5 hours. I mean, I feel like this goes to both parents, both men and women. But since that song kind of sparked this, I don't know, this reflection.
Great conversation. This is,
parenting
is, parenting is a job. It's a 24 rest of your life job. No matter
so I was gonna say till you get to the grave.
Yeah, because no matter how old your son gets, or your daughter, how old they. I used to, as like, Adrian's gotten older. He's a man. He has sons, and just hanging out on Saturday. It was Sunday. Sorry, no, it was Labor Day, and just hanging out on the porch, just relaxing, and just being. And it was just, and he will always be son. It's just like no matter how old you get, he will always be son. And
you still see them as those little people.
You see them. That's all you see. I mean, I sat there and looked at him and said, you're going to be almost 50 years old soon. What's going on? I did that. And then I looked at him and said, you know what that means about me? I'm old.
I get that.
To that, Ron, can I add like something like the relationship with me and my dad? We had a huge gap that, none of us have a DeLorean. I can't go back in time and change, but we had a rift there, and it was around my career path of being an artist and a designer. My dad was former military, so he it didn't fit into his box.
Couldn't grasp it.
But in his later years, one of the things he told me that kind of broke the ice and had us rebuilding it, and gives me hope for the rebuilding of my relationship with my two older boys. My dad said, when he stopped looking at me as like he says I'm always his baby, but when he stopped interacting with me as a baby child and just shifted to interacting with me as his adult child, that really changed. So now we can have adult father-son conversations and interactions instead of like a baby father-son interaction where like, okay,
I love it.
Yeah. So
I love. I mean, I just, like I said, this on Monday we just sat there, and then I went into what is going to be my space, my little room here. And I was like, okay, this needs to change. That needs to change. And then it was so funny because again, Adrian, planters for the house, and they were just hanging out on this deck, and I said, "Oh, have you ever tried to put these here?" As I said, start moving things around on the deck, and he was like, "Oh, that looks really good there." And then next thing, "Oh, let's take this and move it over here." And then Nancy was like, "Ooh, I love all of this." She just take the house and do what you want, Ron. Just do what you want. Ronaldus, because she calls me Ronaldus. Do what you want, Ronaldus, with it.
They've got a built-in designer now, so they can do that.
I said, you got a live-in interior designer. That's going to be a lot of fun for y'all.
Free services.
Think of all the money you're going to save.
Look, I think as parents, one of the things, as people, you always remember, especially if you have a great a close relationship with your children, is that all of us have the little child in us. All those children are still in us. And so for me, I recognize when it comes out of my kids. I recognize when I need to nurture that child that's coming out for whatever period of time it is. But we also balance it by having real adult conversations.
Yes.
Like, what's going on in life and money stuff, whatever it is, relationships. I've always had those conversations, but I think it's so important that we acknowledge even when our little kids come out, listening to conversations brought mine out like today. At one point it was like, okay, so I could cry right here, but for probably totally different reasons. Like, I cry because some things that I think about is when people talk about how loving and great their mothers are. I don't have that memory. I don't have those experiences. And
that was my experience growing up.
Crossed my mind. So when people say how much they miss their mother, I never, after they pass, I'm gonna be honest, I've never written that or said that. And sometimes that can weigh on you in a different way. Like, why don't I?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't remember, of all the people I can never remember the year she died. Wow. But I can remember my father died in 2004.
Well, because your father holds that very special place in your heart, and you have those really strong memories and moments with him. And it's so important. I love that we're having this conversation, and I love what Brian said about, especially with parents and them still always seeing you as a kid, but also recognizing there's a pivotal point, I think, in everyone's life when the dynamic of the parent and child relationships shifts. I remember mine very vividly. I was 18. I was leaving for college that morning, and we had rented a little van to drive me down to Philly. And we were standing outside of the car rental. We just got in the car or whatever. And before we got into the car, she said, "I just want to talk to you." She said, "I've loved you all your life. You're 18. You're going out and venturing the world on your own, going to college." She said, "Today, you leave as my son, but when you come back, you'll be my friend." I will never, ever forget that conversation I had with my mom. And that was the moment that our relationship changed forever. And it's true. Like, when I went away to college, I never came back home. I stayed away. Even like during summer breaks, I found a job there in Philly because I was just like, why am I going to come back to New York, try to spend a month trying to find a job and then be gone in another month? So I was like, no, I'm just going to stay here. I mean, that was a conversation in itself, but I was just like, I'm strong-willed like my mother. You know what I mean? My mother came to this country when she was in her early 20s by herself with 2 kids with nothing. You know what I mean? And I just always look at that and use that as an example for how I live my life. And just, she always says, where do you get like this boldness to just go out and do things by yourself and travel the world? I said, well, I mean, I didn't really think about it, but I'm like, you did that. You picked yourself up and moved to another country by yourself with 2 kids and started a life. You know what I mean? So I was like, I get that from you. And, it's funny, especially more than ever, this summer has really taught me what it means that when your parents become your kids, as Ron had mentioned, and we had talked about a little bit, Mom had surgery about 8 weeks ago now. I believe it was like the first week in July, something like that. And, my dad has his health challenges right now. And I've been kind of going back and forth to New York. And then I realized I've been, this summer especially, I called them every single day. I called a couple times a week before all this, but after this, constantly checking on them, making sure that everything's okay, making sure they're set up and stuff like that. So you those shifts when you are the child and become a friend, and then you become the adult and they become like the child and you're the parent to them. Cherish those moments. I cherish every moment. Every time they call, I make sure to pick up the phone because I don't know when that last time is going to be when I won't get that phone call again. You know what I mean? That's another thing too. I say to people all the time, people say, oh, they're calling. I said, let me tell you something. Pick up that phone because you do not want to have any regrets that, oh, they've now passed and I didn't pick up that phone that last time. I don't know what that conversation could have been about. I don't care. It could be something stupid. Pick up the phone. If you can't, even if you can't talk right now, like, hey, I can't talk right now, but I'll call you back. Or send them a message. Let them know. Just have that interaction because you never, ever want someone to leave this earth and you have regret about it. I am so big on not having regret. We lost my grandmother in November, literally the day before my birthday. I don't have any regrets whatsoever. We both said, talk to each other as much as we could. We said what we how we felt. I knew how she felt about me, and vice versa. And when she was gone, it was okay. You know what I mean? And I try to live my life like that every day. So I'm telling everyone that's watching this or in the sound of my voice, always remember to pick up that phone, to listen to your loved ones, have a conversation, because you do not know when it's going to be their last. It could be my last today. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's so important.
I sent a message to someone the other day and I said, I said, I almost didn't send this. I said, but then I was reminded from a sermon I heard that we always say tomorrow's not promised. The next minute's not promised.
Next minute.
So I can think about it now and say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow's not promised. The next minute's not promised. And so my aunts, my mother's, two of my mother's sisters before they passed, I would call them all the time, at least once a month, say how much I love them, and I sent them flowers. And of course, they were like, "Oh wow, they're so beautiful." And so when I spoke at the one's funeral a couple of years ago, I told them, I said, I didn't send any flowers. I said because I gave her flowers while she was here.
That's
and
right.
I told her I loved her while she was here, because I think it's so important that we say that to people all the time. And I do it. I know my family, because I send them texts and stuff to my kids, my nieces and nephews, and call my sisters. I said because I tell them how much I love them. And I told my sister, I said, I just talked to her yesterday. I said, they don't call me, but I call them. And it's only 3 of us left out of 7. So I don't know. The ones that I said, Lord, she got 9 lives, because she has had brain surgery, she's had heart surgery, she had everything, and she's still here, right? And the doctor tell her, hey, you're doing good. It's like, but it's so important that when I believe in when people come to your mind, whoever they are, and you say, I need to talk to them, I need to share something with them, call and share that with them, because they don't know. And so I think that's important. And
I literally had that conversation with my mom yesterday about that.
And I was listening to this video. There's some athletes who come on and do a chat, and I saw a video of one of them today. And what he was talking about is how he said, I'm the person that now says I love you for everything I do. My husband goes for a walk, I kiss him and say I love you on his way out the door, because you don't know, right? So he said that the last conversation with his father, who died not too long ago, he said the regret is that at the end, he didn't say, I love you to his father. He said, because he would have said it back. And my girlfriend's daughter died almost 2 years ago now. She called me on the phone and she was in the hospital dying. So my girlfriend called me and I said, I love you. And she was able to say, I love you back. As weak as she was, she said, I love you back. So you never know. And you never know the day nor the hour. And we have to remember that people, we just need to hear it ourselves. We need to know that.
We need to hear it. I mean, we all need to hear it, and it feels good when you say it. I mean, like, Adrian and I we were sitting on the deck, and I just looked over to him and said, "Son, I'm proud of you. I'm just so proud of you." And it's, I don't think we ever get older in age where those words don't mean something. When someone says those words, I'm proud of you, I love you.
Yeah.
And it's so just randomly, just sharing because you feel it and you share it in the moment. It means the world to the person that receives it. I mean, I could see him light up. He lit up just by the words. But I said, "Son, I am proud of you."
Absolutely.
It makes all the difference.
Yeah. I was going to say, and it's coming from a place. That's why I tell Xavier and all three of my sons. But that's coming from a place of sincerity, and you're not wanting anything. There's no ulterior motive. That's, in my opinion, makes it that much more impactful, instead of like, I got my oldest who's a freshman in college now, and we're our relationship is slowly rebuilding, and he actually asked me about a girl, and he was like, "Dad, she told me she loves me." And I said, "Well, okay," and that was a whole nother conversation, but but then he followed it up with some things that she wanted him to get for her. And I said, "Well, wait a minute. Like, son, love, true, sincere love that parents have for their children, or I would hope in healthy relationships, there's nothing that's coming along with that. It's out of a place of sincerity." Like when Ron's,
it's not transactional.
I'm
non-transactional.
I love you.
Yes.
I'm not trying to get anything back in return. I'm doing this because I want to, because I want the best for you. Period. Full stop. And that's it. And lastly, all of you guys are something, and I have to do this more, but one of my personal feelings, and I would occasionally post on my Instagram, is tell someone you love them today, not tomorrow. That's it.
But I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I love all of y'all. I love you.
I love you. I love Chris. I love Brian.
And the big thing is, I try to show up for people. I like love. What and I'll tell you, the phrase "I love you" has become so cliche and easy for some people. They forget that it comes with something. That love is an action word, it's a verb. You, even if it's little things, even like Ron said, telling Adrian, "I'm proud of you and I appreciate you." That's love.
Yeah. You know what? Here's the thing too. Like, I don't say it to everybody because I don't mean it for everyone. I tell the people that are in my lives that I love them. And it's funny. Ron and I, especially after we do these shows, we stay on for a little bit. And the last thing we say to each other is that we love each other. And he always says, "Tell Ron I said hello and I love you guys." That's always how he leaves the conversation. And it doesn't matter, when you build relationships with people, be it a friend, a family member, a loved one, it is so important to tell them how you feel about them.
Yes.
Just because they love you, whatever, but there's something about hearing how someone feels about you. When Ron just mentioned that, how he said he told Adrian he was proud of him, like, I really got teared up about that, because people don't realize, like, that means so much. And sometimes it comes at the most perfect time for you to hear that, because you could be having a moment and no one know about it, and then you hear someone that you care about say that to you. It lifts you up. It really does. One of the things that we're very adamant about, Ronald and I, every morning before he leaves out, he'll go to work. Even if I'm still in bed, he'll come over, he'll lean over, give me a kiss, and we both say, "I love you, have a good day, and be safe." Right. Because when you leave out these doors, you're in the world's hand. Anything can happen.
No guarantees you coming back.
Anything can happen. And I don't want to ever say that, "Oh my God, he done walked out the door, he hasn't come back, and I didn't get a chance to tell him how I felt."
Or even if you're the one staying at home.
Yeah.
Don't
That's
know.
I can drop dead here. Like that was always like a fear of mine, especially when we first got married. And like I started working from home, that like I can sit here and just die, and he come home and find my body just on the floor somewhere.
Well, I tell y'all all the reasons why I started Touch Base Daily is
Yeah.
because it was really my selfish motives of saying, hey, if I'm in the house, and because it was someone had passed away, and I think in one of the buildings or whatever, and they were in their house, they were in their apartments for like a week or two before anyone knew that they had passed on. And I said, because when you're single, you're single. There's no one checking up on you, and there's no one in the house that's coming home, just open the door and you're on the floor. And I said, wait a minute, I have to touch base with my friends every day. And that's what we did. It was Chris, myself, Omar, Gwendolyn, our wonderful BB, BJ, and we would get together just to talk and just to connect every morning. And then it just grew. People started chiming in. People started coming to the platform during the times we were on. We just decided to do it on Instagram, and then it expanded it, and it kept expanding. And next thing you know, Chris was like, you need to do YouTube. And I was like,
and look at you now.
Look at us. I mean,
we're in Hollywood Squares.
But can I add to that? Because
yes, sir.
I don't want to be too delicate. This is like heartwarming, and you saying that, it reminds me, like what you mentioned, Ron, and the Lees. Well, all three of you guys that has hit me. We lost my dear cousin in January, who's more publicly known, and then privately, my dad's youngest sister, who unfortunately passed away. She was found right after Mother's Day, and that it was unplanned. My point in that is that she cultivated a community as a single retired woman on her block, and like at her homegoing service, my cousin stood up, spoke for her, and then I stood up and spoke, since I'm the oldest out of our generation. Then her neighbor across the street, who I hadn't met yet, I'd heard of, and it speaks to, I think it hits upon many different things. One, she said her and my aunt Karen, they went to two separate churches, and they had this like positive rivalry of like, look, you're going to come to my church first before I come to yours. And this was every Sunday. And so she spoke of how when my aunt went to church earlier, she was always home when this neighbor came home. And what kind of stood out was that she said my aunt's front door would always be open. She'd come over, they'd have coffee every single time for God knows how many years. The Mother's Day, unfortunately, is when she had her stroke. Her door wasn't open. Neighbor thought it was odd. My cousin always checks in with her frequently. Good mama's boy. He thought it was odd that she wasn't picking up on Mother's Day, but figured, well, she's probably doing her thing. But that neighbor, and then my cousin, who reached out to my sister, said, hey, sums up, not hearing from mom. So my point in that is that when you just naturally, even if you are living this life solo, so to speak, the community you cultivate just organically, if we are in tune with each other, like my aunt's neighbor who said, hey, something's out of whack here, so
that's not right.
Yeah. And unfortunately, we prayed, and she went to be home with the Lord, but to the point of saying I still have her last voicemail to me. I still have her last text to me. And even though my heart aches for her, I can take solace in knowing the last thing I told her was that I love her. And that comes back to, just let's try to be good people. That's one thing I tell my kids.
Check in on people. Check in. Let me tell you something. Whenever I'm not on, and Ron's supposed to be on at 11 o'clock, and I'll give him grace like 3 minutes. I'm like, okay, now I'm texting, and if I don't get a response, I'm going directly to Gwendolyn. Like, where have you heard from him? Because I know that she'll either talk to him in that morning. But like, that's important. Like, you have to check up on people. Like, if I don't hear from certain people in a certain amount of time, I'm like, okay, something's up. Then I'm starting to call around all the people. When was it? 2 years ago? I think it was 2 years ago or a year ago when we had that slight earthquake here in the Northeast between Jersey and New York and Delaware.
Woo, that was last year.
Let me tell you something. Was it last year? Yeah, okay, so it was last year. I remember the first thing I did after I felt it, I called Ron to make sure he was okay. I was calling my parents. Nobody was picking up. So now I'm starting to freak out. So I'm calling my brothers and cousins. I'm like, where are they at? No one's picking up. I mean, it's important. Check in on people, You
gotta check on, especially in today's world. I mean, when people get taken off the streets and everything, you gotta,
yes.
I never used to have, now I have the Apple phone. So I'm using these little tools like location. So my brother has the location, Adrian has a location, and one of my buddies has a location. So they know where I am at any given moment. They can look on their phone and say, "Oh, Ron is over there," or "Ron is there," and then
my parents and my husband,
we've done the same thing. Like, okay, my buddy's okay. He's doing this. He's doing that, and we need to have that accountability so that way we can be safe. In a world where people are being erased and missing. And, the last place we saw them was, at the mall, and now they're not at the mall. Right. Well, at least you have a digital footprint, and it's okay to surrender. I was telling Adrian this weekend past, I said now that I'm in this new chapter of my life, I'm learning a whole new level of surrender. I am so used to being in control. I'm the one that's always leading. I'm always the one that's leading the marching band. I'm the one that's, organizing stuff. I'm the one that's usually doing it. So it's now learning a whole new mindset of, saying, okay, Adrian has the steering wheel, and I'm able to, or some of my friends, giving them the steering wheel, like I did with my meetup group, because I'm not going to be I'll be back and forth between two countries.
Right.
So one of our members, Tim, which has been with me since the beginning with Chris. And I said, you know what, Tim, you can take it over. And he's just been, I said, what do you want? I just reached out to him the other day. I said, what do you want to meet this month? Do you have any ideas? He goes, well, I was thinking about Riverside. I said, oh, okay. I said, take it away. Go for it. Next thing you know, he had it done, set up, and everything posted. Yeah. I was like, oh, shoot. I was like, thank you, Tim. I said, all I have to do is do the graphics.
Right.
But learning to surrender, because again, when you birth these things into the world, you're used to doing everything. And it's a great place to be able to surrender. And it's teaching me a whole nother mindset that I had never been encountered before. So
Ron, it also shows great leadership too. Because when you have when a person has great leadership, they also make sure that they empower other people to be able to step in if they can't be there. Yes. So that's a part of leadership, that surrendering and allowing other people to be confident enough and have enough confidence in yourself not to feel like someone's just going to come in and try to replace you. That's not your thing. So, and that's what it is. That's what that surrender really is about. Now, my son, I'm dramatic because I'll call him sometime and say, look, so I was just trying to see if you were still breathing up there in Brooklyn. I thought you died. You're just so dramatic. I say, well, you never know.
It's so dramatic, he says.
That's you're just being a mother. You're just being a mother.
Huh?
You're just being a mother. Listen, I realized once I got into my 20s, I was living on my own. you know, when you don't like, if you have a certain pattern of how you talk to your parents on a regular basis, and like a couple days go by, and oh, the first time, oh, you forgot about me, or I figured you were just busy, but like you could at least send me a message. You're okay. I'm like, I know,
And
but no, it.
a part of it too, Chris, is that in time, he ticks off several boxes.
Yes.
So I don't count it as, I think of it as like being aware and alert to make sure that in this environment that he's okay.
That's right.
He ticks off some boxes people don't like. And and that's also a part of mothering, right?
Yes.
And because all of us aren't aware. We aren't as self-aware about or conscious of it. And so it's good to have someone that's conscious of it. And I don't have enough friends of yours that will contact me. That do they have my number? I made sure they gave people my number.
Yes.
Say, give your friends my number. So if anything happens and you can't contact me, that someone can contact me. And I think that's another great point. Like that was one of the things I did. Like I have a really close knit group of friends. And like they've come to the house. They know my parents. We know each other's families. If anything was to ever go wrong, like I know that everyone can take care of each other and will be able to support one another. And it goes for friends. It goes for family members. And it goes with in-laws and all that stuff. Like you have a built-in community. Make sure that your community knows everybody, because they're the ones that are going to rally around you. God forbid something happens, or you're no longer here.
It's so important. And if there's any lesson to be learned in this conversation, we talked about a lot of subjects. This is a great water cooler day.
I love these.
These conversations are the best. But one of the things is, if you don't have accountability buddies, I'm a believer of accountability buddies. I talk to Gwendolyn, I talk to Chris, I talk to Elise. Elise will get on the phone. Even sometimes we talk over here, then I hear the phone ring and say, "Oh, there's Elise." Just checking in. And you have to, when people, when they see us here, we are really who we are. It's not like, we really do look out for each other. We do talk to each other. But what we really need, especially in this day and age, we have to make sure we have at least 5 or 6 accountability buddies that know where we are, what we're doing, even if it's just putting on the location on your phone to some of your special friends that know who you are, and you have confidence in them, and you have a security in them knowing where you are. We need to make sure we have those layers of protections, so that way, if anything was to happen to us, people will be like, "Wait a minute, I know I just saw him online at such and such place, or he was just on Touch Base Daily, or he was just this place, or she was just there." Because when police are looking for you after you've been missing, they need to know where you were last seen, so that way they can get the videotapes and all the other stuff that needs to happen, the research. They need to know where you are. They need to know where we are. So we have to get out of our comfort zones. It's not always easy to surrender, but it's a great thing to do, especially now. We have to surrender to our friends and families, especially the people that love us, and the people you love. And usually what happens when you share your information with them, they say, "Oh, wow, I never thought about that. Here's my location as well."
Well, on a lighter note,
yes, sir.
I would like to put an age restriction on that, because when I got,
you know what, Xavier, to know where you are.
Man, I did not think of that when we were late in getting him a phone when he came here to live with me. So I was like, okay, he's going to be going to a school that he doesn't know anybody. So get him a cell phone. Next thing I know, and I forgot about this recently. He's like, "Dad, you're late picking me up." I'm like, "Dude, I'm on the way." He's like, "It says you're still at CVS." I'm like, "What?" Like, "Dad, I'm like, "All right, look here, man. Look, little kid. You're still a little kid. I don't need you clocking where I'm at. I said I'm coming. I need to know where you're at. So that's my little.
No, but here's the thing. That's actually really good because God forbid something happens to you and they come to him saying, well, you know,
my
he
dad
can
was
say,
at
all right, well, I know he was here. You know,
Right.
It's
Look, my granddaughter, I don't know how it happened, but somehow my granddaughter's phone is linked to mine. Now she's not on, so I know everywhere she is, right? So she has a tendency not to always be truthful, and she's 17. So you got to, 17, taking mass transit, all that stuff, and going around with people. You don't know what can happen to them, right? So I'll call and say, so where are you? I messaged and said, no, you're not. You're right here, and I need you to be over here. And she goes, she's never asked. And her mother said, well, what's that thing you have on her that you can find her? I said, God did it. It's God. It's God. But she is so shocked. And I'll text her a call and I say, I don't know why you lie because I know where you are. Get on that train, get on that bus, and get home.
Well, you know what? I got a funny story. So this happened last week, Friday. My mom calls me and says, we can't find your father's phone. He said, because he said that he's basically said that she took his phone. Like, no, he didn't. I said, well, the phone is with you right now. Wherever you are, the phone is near you. She said, but I don't have it. So I said, look at your pocketbook. Maybe it fell in there or whatever. What happened was the day before she had picked him up, and his phone slipped out of his pocket in the car on the side. So wherever she was, it was in the car. So I said, go look in the car. And lo and behold, that's where it was. So here's the thing. I know where my parents are at all the time because I bought them those phones. I put on the tracking on them. You know, God forbid something happens. I need to know where they're at. You know, that was a perfect example. She couldn't find the phone. I said, the phone is near you. It's either in the car or it's in your pocketbook. She was able to find it. You know, my husband and I, we know where each other's at all times. You know, God forbid something, because, you know, I travel for work sometimes, and, you know, he goes out on his own, whatever. And we just need to know where each other are. You know, if God forbid something happens, someone called me saying, well, where is such and such? I need to know.
Right.
You know, you need to know.
Well,
anything
also,
can happen these days.
Chris, you have a fan in the building. Kimmy says, off topic, but before you get off, Ron, I just wanted to let Chris know I really enjoyed his Project Runway show with Joseph McCray and excellent show.
Listen, so let me just take a moment to address that. So thank you to everyone that has watched the last episode of the recap show, which came out on Monday. It's only been up for just a little over 2 days, and we've already, now this is our second highest video so far, and it's exceeding all of our expectations. We were able to get one of the contestants from Project Runway on our show this past weekend. Yeah. So if you have not seen it, Joseph McCray. Yeah, Joseph McCray was one of the contestants. He went home 2 weeks ago on the show. Very high-spirited individual. We were able to have him on, and we actually did a really long episode. It ran for about 1 hour and 20 minutes. And we put that out on Monday. It's been doing really well. And as a bonus, he invited us to his runway show, which is going to be next week, Saturday on the 13th. So TJ is actually flying into Philly, and we're all driving up to New York to go to the show and then to capture some footage of the runway show and then our in live meeting in person with Joseph McCray. So yeah, it was a really, really special. And here's the thing. We loved him. We said, justice for Joseph McCray. He saw it. He responded to it. And we reached out to him and said, hey, well, would you love to come on? And he said, absolutely. And we said, well, figure out a time for you to come on later. He was like, well, what about this weekend? And we said, let's just make it happen. We didn't say anything to anybody. Because, of course, when you do these things, you don't want to put it out there, then the person not show up or something like that. He was very gracious. We had him on, like I said, on Sunday. We typically record the show on Sundays and put it out on Monday. And we just had such a great time. So look forward to even more content from Mr. Joseph McCray. when we go up and meet him on the 13th and see his runway show. But yeah, it was great. So for all those that have seen it, thank you for watching. If you haven't seen it yet, go and watch it. It's the latest episode of the recap show. It's episode 6 on the conference call channel. But yeah, such a great show and such a great guy.
Well, here's a word from our sponsor.
True well-being lies in the magic of Manuka. Pure and powerful, Manuka Wellbeing Manuka honey will elevate your wellness naturally. Our sustainably sourced, golden goodness aids with digestive health, immunity boosting, and is antibacterial. Manuka Wellbeing, wellness has never been sweeter.
And that was from our sponsor, Miss Doctor, our lovely Dr. Tachi is in the building. So if you're interested in that beautiful honey, make sure you reach out to Dr. Tachi. She is, she's one of the biggest sponsors of this channel. So I just want to make sure we give her a shout out. Also, just so you know, let me just give you some of our wonderful. Make sure you join our email list today. Join the email list. You get new service updates. You get industry news, our monthly trends. Be in the know. But also, most important, we will stay in contact. If the apps are gone, if all these other social media platforms are gone, email will still be here. So let's make sure we're on the email list. Also, I'm an event photographer. If you're looking for an event photographer, reach out to me. I do commercial events, private events, all kinds of events, news events, journalism, all that good stuff. If it's an event, I am available to be hired to do it. Also, I want to say thank you to our Patreon members, those that support what we do here. They contribute. They make monthly payments to what we do here. $3 a month, $5 a month, all the way up to $100 a month. We have amazing Patreon members. So you want to become a Patreon member, make sure you go to patreon.com and just put in Ron Lewis photos. And it takes money to be on air. So make sure you support. And last but not least, we invite you to join our YouTube channel. If you're just a visitor, you're just popping through, take some time to like and subscribe. And we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. And then that way we can get some more opportunities for our community. So when we get to 1,000, we got more doors that will open for us. So let's get to 1,000 around the corner. Okay.
One more. And we've actually recorded some promos for the show. So I just want to run one of them here. Here, take a look.
What's up? Okay, so listen, that man right there, Chris, said that I had to record this. And so I'm just gonna do it. But it's super important what I'm about to say. But before I say it, I want you to hit the like button. And then I want you to hit the notification bell. And then I want you to hit the follow button with the subscribe button. And I'm going to wait until you do it. Oh, you did? Okay, great. So listen, this is the conference call where we do recap shows of all your favorite shows. So what you should do now that you have subscribed and hit the like button and notification bell and some other buttons, what you should do is once you get them notifications, you tap that notification and then you come to our page and then you watch us talk about the shows that you like to talk about. Okay, so we done did Project Runway, we done did Drag Race, and who knows what is coming up, because this is what we do. So we look forward to communing with you, talking with you, being with you, in the comments and such. You see, we got all kinds of shit going on. So be with us every week. Sometimes it could be multiple times a week, but come be with us, chat with us, and let's have a good time. All right, bye.
There you have it. That's awesome. Elise, where can people find you, my dear? Where can people find you?
Elise, that's SALIEZE _ on Instagram. Elise Stallworth on YouTube. That's where you found me.
Brian, where can people find you, sir?
Brian Young Creative on Instagram. I'm not on Twitter because of, that guy. But Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and on and on. Brian Young Creative.
Awesome. And Chris, where can people find you on your YouTube channel and everything else?
Yeah, so everything on YouTube, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, it's all constantly changing for me. And it's constantly changing the number for me. And then, of course, also you can find me on the official conference call here on YouTube.
Well, guys, you know where to find me. I am here every day, 11 o'clock every day, touching base with you and with my friends right here. And also, make sure, again, you hit the likes, make sure you hit the subscribe, and also share what we do here. I think we have some great conversations here. They're worth sharing. They're worth sharing with other people so that they can be inspired, encouraged, and informed. Okay, and I think that's it. I think we're good on time. We're good on time.
Yeah, we're really good on time today.
Good job today on time. And thank you guys for joining us today. We had a great time here with you all. And tomorrow, I'll see you tomorrow. That's it. I think that's it, y'all. I think I got the final word. Later. Hello, and thank you for joining us today. Make sure you hit the like, the subscribe, and leave a comment on this video. I would love to hear from you. Thank you again. Until I see you next time.